Welcome to Glowtime with Jackie. It isn't about chasing youth, it's about owning your glow, reinventing your story, and showing up like never before. Glowtime starts now. Hello, Joan. Welcome back.
Hi, Jackie.
Welcome to Glowtime with Jackie, episode 6.
Awesome.
Yes, and today we're going to speak about spiritual response therapy, something that I really don't have a lot of information on. I'm super curious about.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to me, the little that you've told me, even though we've known each other for a long time. It's recently come up.
Right.
And I do feel that that's because I'm finally in a position where I can really take in what you're telling me.
Right.
I know that's what it is.
It is.
So I am, beyond grateful for you being here. I want to hear more about it. Tell me what spiritual response therapy is.
Actually, it is a fascinating healing system, but it has its roots in ancient times. So this was brought into this country by Robert Detzler in the 1980s. And he was working with a couple of hypnotherapists, and we're working with charts, and we use a pendulum to uncover hidden blocks, beliefs, and programs that we all have. Everybody has them. And a lot of times you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, but what is hidden or what is not uncovered is causing us to think, act in specific ways. So we fall into patterns of emotional trauma. We don't know why we're doing what we're doing. We don't understand that we've had past lives with many of people in our soul families, and we all have soul families. And at the end of the day, I think that this is one of the greatest healing techniques I've ever come across.
Wow, that's wonderful. I know that I've seen the patterns in myself.
Right.
I know I have patterns. I know there's different things that
Trigger
me.
Mhm.
I know there's like one of the things is crossing the street. It's a big fear for me.
Right.
And what I think is that something happened to me at some point somewhere.
Right.
In another life.
Right.
It's got to be because it's such something that really is like really scary to me, and I'm not a fear-based person.
Right.
So I know it comes from somewhere else.
Right.
So I'm beyond curious.
So one of the things one aspect of spiritual response therapy is something called the inner child work. So we progress the age of the inner child. The inner child is really who you really truly are. And the inner child, when it's wounded, and what we do with spiritual response therapy, oftentimes we'll go back to in this lifetime from the womb. We tell you who did the wounding, what the wounds are, the emotional response left, the traumas that are left over. And then what we're going through, say it starts in the womb up until the current age of the patient in the body. And so when the inner child is wounded, that's the urge to create, to play. When that child is wounded, it goes into hiding. And then what happens is we put on the mask. And so the word personality comes from persona. In the Greek, it means the mask. So we put on a mask. We're not our authentic self. The reason we're not our authentic self is because we are responding to emotional traumas from past lifetimes or even in the current lifetime. So that is what spiritual response therapy does really well. It uncovers hidden things that are in the subconscious thinking. And in this, we have a conscious mind. We also have a subconscious mind, and then there's super consciousness. So SRT starts at the beginning from point zero. And I'm going to show you this chart. See it here at point zero. This is where we're created. And when we were created as spiritual beings. We did not have physical bodies. And before that, God had already created us as an idea in his mind. And before that, we were already created as these are other ideas in the mind of God. And so ultimately what happened is we became physical beings. And when we became physical beings, we had to lower our vibration, slow it down so much because at this level, level 7 here in the Godhead, in the God mind, we are communicating with God, just like Adam and Eve in the Bible. You could say, you put your name in if you want, but basically what we're doing is what SRT shows is that as you're coming down 7 levels of consciousness. You're coming from this super conscious level where you're with the all mind or the all knowing God. And then you're lowering yourself down to the earth plane. And why did you have to come here? Because you asked to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And when we ate from that, we incarnated and we took on physical bodies. That's what the Bible talks about. We're having coats of skin. That means that we are now incarnated. And at this level, down at the Hertzian plane, which is the lowest level of consciousness that we can become, our goal now is to go back up into the God mind, all the way up through these various levels like this one, the subconscious mind, through the social consciousness all the way back up to ultra consciousness. So when you're at this level, you're now ready to ascend.
Wow, Joan. So this is something that is godly based.
Yes,
It's godly
absolutely.
based.
But
A
it's
lot
not,
of times
it's not religion.
it's not religion.
It's not religion.
It's spiritual.
It's spiritual.
But it is godly based.
Right.
And sometimes I feel that might be a misconception to some people.
It is.
And so again, it's spiritual.
Mm-hmm. So when you're thinking of spiritual response therapy, a lot of people think it means that you have to go to church, you have to be, it's none of that. Spirituality is quite the opposite of being in religion. Religion is man's method of explaining to himself who God is. That's what all religions are. They all have some element of truth in them, but they also have a lot of misconception. So the thing that I love about spiritual response therapy is that you can know why you're doing certain things. You can know even relationships, you know, if you're in a relationship with the same person over and over again, that is likely a past life that you've had with that person. And you guys have come back now to resolve what happened in the past. So you're almost like trading places, if that makes sense.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I still want to know more information.
Yeah.
Why don't we know more of this, Joan?
We don't know because we're afraid to ask. We've made it taboo to even say, who am I? What am I? And at the end of the day, if you don't ask those questions, why am I here? What am I doing here? What is my purpose here? You're never going to know, because those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. And they're questions that we don't expect necessarily an answer, but it's just a yearning to know more, to know the more that you are. And we are so much more than we know. And if people really understood what was inside of them, they would ask. Because there's, you know who Greg Braden is, right?
I don't.
You don't. He is I'll call him a spiritual master. And he had a YouTube video. I saw it probably a year or so ago. And he had basically seen an ancient text taken from the Sefer Yetzirah. And in that ancient text, he took the coding, the letters that were written, and inside it said, God within the being. God is within the being. And that is encoded on our DNA. And most people don't know that we are one with the Father. And that's my greatest prayer. The Father and I are one.
Right.
But you're one with the Father. But if you don't know that you're one with the Father, then it's just like the kid who goes to school and takes a gun and shoots up the school because he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
He's confused. And so that's what happens to most people. And so they back off of anything that is spiritual, anything that calls you to look deep within. That's why people don't meditate too, because you have to quiet the monkey mind. You got to quiet down the clutter, because God is speaking to us, and he speaks to all of us all the time, but we can't hear it because we are busy doing this, doing that. We don't slow down long enough to understand and to hear the voice of God. So when I'm doing an SRT clearing for people, I can clearly hear, because I've been doing this now for 9 years. And I find it fascinating, because the clients that come to me, I ask God just to send me the people who are ready for this. I'm not interested in working with first round souls who don't really want to know much, or they just want to figure out what is this, because you won't really know what it is until you experience it. It's one of those kind of things.
Right. And still, so again, you have to be in a mindset
Yes.
where you're ready, you're open.
Right.
And you have to understand that there is more than just this to us.
Yes.
And there's just no way that we could only be here this one time.
Oh, yeah. We've been here many lifetimes.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And why not believe that? Like, there's no reason that we shouldn't believe that.
Yeah. Do you remember what I told you, how long you've been here?
Yes.
The number was in the 300s, right?
Yes.
Over 300.
I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why we're, a lot of us are second round or old souls. We've been here before, and we are here now to go through the ascension process, where we won't necessarily, when we leave the planet, we will leave consciously aware. We will not be, there is no death really. Right. That's why they say there is not death, because at the end of the day, we are here to discover the unknown, to make known to ourselves the unknown. Mm-hmm. And so when you make known to yourself the unknown, what you're doing is you're making known who God is. Yeah. Because as you get closer to the divinity, to that divine aspect, then anything that you need to know, you will know, because there's nothing that's going to be hidden. You can find out anything you want to find out about anybody through SRT.
Right. That's amazing because too, I know that when I've met people, there's different people that I have connections with, like you. You're someone that I know that I've been connected with.
Yes.
And I know that you meet people sometimes, you're like, I feel like I've known you for a long
Yeah.
time.
Or you feel like you've known them for a lifetime.
A lifetime. Yes, that's what it feels like. And, you just met this person, or even in passing, you have different connections with people. So I definitely feel that comes from just past lives. And,
yes.
I don't understand it, but I'm happy that you're here and telling me and explaining to me, and I'm curious about it. So I know you mentioned charts, and there's a pendulum that you use as well.
So this is my trusty pendulum. I use this because if I say my name is Joan, it's giving me, this is my yes signal. That's my name. If I say my name is Bozo, watch what happens. It's giving me a no signal. That's not your name. So it's called the ideometer response. And
it's energy.
Yes, it's all energetic. This is all energy healing. So at the end of the day, when I want to know something, or if anything, if I want to know the number of something, I ask how many digits are in the number, give me the number. I mean, if I want to know the date of something, then it'll give me the dates. I mean, it is extraordinarily precise. And it's amazing what you're going to get when you're obedient to just listen, because I'm only a facilitator. I always do a prep to work for clients. I don't ever just walk in and say, oh, let's clear you. I never do what I call a cold reading. I always do the research before I even talk to you, because I want to make sure that I understand. Because if I can't understand it, you're not going to understand it. And if you don't understand it, it won't benefit you.
Right.
So I try to break things down so people can understand exactly what I'm saying.
And this is more about past traumas, past healing. It's not really telling the future.
No, it's past, present, and future.
It is future also.
Because you can live a future life, which means the present life now. So at the end of the day, we're dealing with the past, present, and future all wrapped into one. And the reason we're able to do that is because in the spirit realm, where we're getting the information is being channeled from the Galactic Federation of Light, we're getting the information, and there is no time and space in spirit. It's only, there's no such thing as time. In fact, there's something called anti-time, which is a block that people have. And a lot of times when people incarnate, they feel like they are separated from God. And so when you feel any kind of separation anxiety instead of unity, that is a block. And those blocks have to be cleared so that you can become more. If you're walking around thinking that you're not loved by God, you're not connected to him in any way, you're going to act very differently than if you know that you are.
That's true. Very true. And so tell me, have you ever, this is probably a no because of what you said, people that come to you are ready to know about this. So would anyone not believe you coming into this? Like they're open to this type of therapy?
Yes.
Or have you had non-believers come to you and then they see the changes in themselves?
Yeah. I had a situation with a lady. She was so impressed with SRT. I did a reading for her, and then she wanted me to do one for everybody in her family. And so she wanted me to do one for her husband. And when I told him that he and his, not the current wife, but his last wife,
that no one knew about?
No, everybody knew about her, but he said, I have nothing in common with her. I mean, he really did not like what I had to say. And I said, but you have had past lives with her, and you have to understand that what you're reacting to now is you're being triggered by something you've already experienced with her. It wasn't like I was condemning him, but that's how he felt.
Right.
And so, that's why I don't work with and I always ask permission. If I don't get permission from God to work with you, then I don't work with you. And sometimes a client can block you. If you say to somebody, I'd like to do a clearing for you, and they'll say, well, yeah, go ahead and do it. But they don't really mean it. Spirit will tell me, nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're not. And so I don't go beyond what spirit gives me. I never do that. And I never get ahead of spirit either. I don't try to put what I think, because I have to stay neutral. You have to be.
You have to take your ego out. It has to be totally spiritual for it to come, for the message to be accurate.
Exactly.
Wow. How did you get into SRT?
I had met a lady who was doing SRT, and I guess I would get maybe a couple of clearings every year, because it always made me feel very light, and I felt extremely creative at the end of every session. And so one day I asked her about what she was doing, and she gave me the name of I think for 5 or 6 teachers. Some of them were here in Houston, but I chose a lady from New Jersey and I started going to classes there. And so I took my basic and then I took my advanced. I've taken self-mastery classes and then I got my certification, which is a process. It takes years to do that because you have to have at least 75 clearings. And so I had done those and I just started working with when she taught me the basic program, I just started working with myself. And then I found out things about me. And then I had to do another reading with her. And I said, are these things true? Because I can't believe it. And she said, yep, she got the same thing that I got. So at the end of the day, you will uncover things about yourself you didn't know. But it's fascinating. It's not anything to be afraid of. It's just being able to be open to that you are so much more. When I say you're more than you know, I'm not even joking.
Right.
We are all more than we know, but we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah. So tell me about, let's see. So is there, you're doing this by yourself? I mean, I know it's just you and the client, but is there meetings that you connect with other,
I don't.
okay.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because the SRA has basically, as far as I understand, the association called Spiritual Response Association is now defunct. Because when Robert died, his wife took over. I'm not sure what happened, but we don't have I know there are meetings and I've seen them online, but I've never really connected with that. My connection has always been with spirit because I feel like even though I had a great teacher who taught me the basics, God has really been the one who taught me everything else that I needed to know. So even in clearing, I have a new technique that I use, but it's based on many things. I've read many different spiritual books, like literally hundreds of spiritual books. And so I take information from Neville. I take information from a lot of the spirit, like Greg Braden is a great teacher. Bruce Lipton is a great teacher. Not Robert Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is a great teacher. Ramtha is a great teacher. That's a being who channels a female and she is in Yelm, Washington. She's a great teacher. So I take information from a lot of different, I guess, spiritual bodies that makes sense to me. And all of it makes sense because all of it comes together as a unit. And that's how I see it. And so when I want to know anything, if I get curious, I'm always researching things, always.
Yeah. As a person, what signs do I need to look for? Do I need to know that maybe SRT is something for me?
Well, I think if you're curious, you should just probably do a reading.
And just kind of see what it says
and see what you think of it.
No.
And compare that to when you're seeing another kind of therapist, because the therapists are basically, they're getting into the mind. So in our minds, we have neural network. There's a neural network in the mind, and there's also a neural network in the brain. The thing with SRT, it brings those two units together, the brain and the mind. So you have a brain-mind meld. And so there's a lot of different techniques that we use with SRT. So we do sacral cranial work, we do neurocranial, we do brain restructuring. There's a lot of different aspects to this, especially when you get into the human body. And that's another technique that I've learned is SPR, which is spiritual restructuring. That is for the human body. That's for anybody who has a disease. I have clients that have had cancers because anything that comes on the body can be removed from the body.
I believe that too.
Absolutely.
I believe that a lot of times we create these things because of anger, because of traumas that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
And I truly, truly believe that. And for me, that has always been a reason to really try to heal myself and really try to, think those things that I know that have traumatized me, not to hang on to pain, not to hang on to anger.
And unforgiveness is huge. You have to be able to forgive yourself, forgive the other person. You have to see them forgiving you, and you have to see God forgiving you for holding those energies. Because at the end of the day, we have been everything. We have been all of it. And if you've lived 360-some-thousand lifetimes on this planet, we have done the good. We've been good, bad. We've been evil. We have done everything. We're not in a position to judge anybody. So judgment brings on a lot. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that we are here to experience ourselves. We are here to experience life, to learn from these experiences, to grow and to expand. At the end of the day, it is not about how good am I? Because it's not about being good or evil. Did we forget that when we asked God to come here, we ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? We didn't eat only from the good. So life is not always good. We go through many experiences. And as we go through these experiences, we are experiencing these emotions. And our job is to overcome the emotion. So if you have to forgive people, you have to forgive. I've got a good friend of mine who has recovered from pancreatic cancer. And she did it. She said, Joan, I don't hold energy on anybody. I forgave everybody. And you have to do that. And a lot of people feel justified in their holding on to unforgiveness. And that is very destructive.
Right.
So the energy of hate, even, that's very destructive.
Yeah, you're doing more harm to yourself than the person. The person's just fine, living their beautiful life, and you're the one that's here still pissed off at them for no reason. And for a reason, but no reason to continue to be angry at them.
Right. Because if you recognize, I see everybody as a traveler on the path. We're all travelers.
We're all travelers.
We're all travelers on the path. And some people you're going to meet that you're going to get along with right away. You feel like you've known them all your life. And then other people, there's something about their energy just rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't hold that against them. You have to just kind of go with the flow to understand and see beyond what is.
Yeah.
So Jesus was a great metaphysician. He always saw beyond the physical. And so what SRT does, it takes you beyond the physical into the depths of the soul. So we have the readings from the Akashic records. And the Akashic records are their soul records. Everything you've ever done, experienced, every feeling, emotion that you have is stored there. And so that's what we're accessing to get information. We're accessing the Akashic record, or what is called the soul records.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wonderful.
It really is. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to have a clearing session, I'll have to have another chat and talk about what we learned.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about it because I think it's something I definitely want to do.
Right. I don't know if you'd want to share everything we're going to.
Well, probably not, but I'll share what I can.
Yeah, you'll
for
share
sure. I'll share what I'm open to share with. Absolutely.
Right.
But thank you, Joan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for enlightening us on this.
My pleasure.
SRT. I'm very curious about it, and I hope that there's other people out there that are curious and at least open to understand or try to understand what it means.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.